Dear viewers, Namaskar. Welcome to this edition of the News Bulletin. In the headlines today, birth anniversary of Bharat Ratna Dr. B.R. Ambedkar observed by Rourkela Steel Plant and SAIL, SC and ST Employees Federation. Two angioplasty interventions carried out successfully by doctors of IPGI and Super Speciality Hospital of Rourkela Steel Plant. And in our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav series, today's personality is Shri Gopal Ghosh. Now the news in detail. The birth anniversary of Bharat Ratna Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was observed by SAIL, Rourkela Steel Plant, RSP and SAIL, SC and ST Employees Federation on 14th April. In the morning, Mr. Atanu Bhaumik, DIC, RSP along with Mr. P.K. Satpathy, ED P&A with additional charge of ED projects, Mr. C.R. Mohapatra, CGM, MM and Marketing, Mr. Naresh Kumar, CGM in charge, Services and Acting ED Works, Dr. B.K. Hota, CMO in charge Medical and other senior officers of RSP as well as representatives of SAIL, SC and ST Employees Federation paid floral tributes at the statue of Baba Saheb at the Ambedkar Enclave Sector 17. A grand function was organized at Civic Center to mark the occasion. Mr. Atanu Bhaumik was the chief guest of the function while Mr. M.K. Mahananda, Superintendent Engineer R&B, Government of Odisha was the chief speaker. Mr. P.K. Satpathy, Mr. C.R. Mohapatra, Mr. Naresh Kumar, Dr. B.K. Hota and many other senior officers of RSP and a large number of members of SAIL, SC and ST Employees Federation and students were present on the occasion. The dignitaries paid floral tributes at the portrait of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and inaugurated the program by lighting the ceremonial lamp. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Bhaumik said, overcoming numerous social and financial obstacles and battling the most difficult of odds, Baba Saheb rose to become one of India's greatest statesmen and reformers. On his birth anniversary, as we have gathered to pay homage to him, let us take a solemn pledge to follow the ideals of humanism, peace and brotherhood espoused by Bharat Ratna Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Mr. M.K. Mahananda in his address elaborated on the contributions made by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar with regard to numerous socio-political issues. The three students, namely Omkar Mohapatra, class 10 student from Chinmay Vidyalaya, EM, Chend, Sufia Khan, class 10 student from D'Souza School, Sector 2 and Diksha Kar, class 12 student from Mount Carmel School, Rourkela, the winners of the elocution competition on Baba Saheb Ambedkar spoke about the legend in Odia, Hindi and English respectively. Later, Mr. P.K. Satpathy presented awards to the winners of the elocution competition held among the school students and also winners of various competitions organized for employees of RSP. Earlier, Mr. P.K. Das, GM in charge, Town Services, welcomed the gathering. At the outset, an invocation song about the great leader was presented by the artist of Sukruti Kala Parishad. The eventful morning was enlivened by mesmerizing dance performances like Odissi, Kathak, Sambalpuri and Santali. An art and drama on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was also staged on the occasion. Mr. S.C. Paricha, Assistant Manager Personnel, Town and Medical, proposed a vote of thanks. Ms. Angur Bala Parida and Mr. Anil Malik anchored the program. The specialist doctors of IPGI and Super Speciality Hospital of Rourkela Steel Plant RSP have carried out two successful angioplasty interventions on the day of inauguration of the CTVS Cardiac Operation Theatre, that is 12th April 2022. The first case was of Mr. Sanjay Kumar Mehrotra, General Manager of RSP, who was admitted in the hospital with chest pain, which was diagnosed as acute inferior wall MI. He was taken for primary precutaneous transluminal coronary angioplasty, and in angiogram it was found that he had coronary artery disease, that is triple vessel disease, and the right coronary artery was totally blocked. Hence, Dr. Jogendra Singh cardiologist, with the help of Dr. Vibhuti Patajoshi, specialist anesthesia, and paramedics, namely Mr. Abhishek Parida, senior nursing officer in charge, Mr. Jagannath Behra, senior nursing officer, Mr. Trishit Kumar Seth, cardiology technician, Mr. Manoranjan Dikshit, cardiology technician, Mr. Aditya Ranjan Sahu, senior nursing officer, and Mr. Abul Hakim Sarkar, OT technician, carried out percutaneous transluminal coronary angioplasty. Thanks to the expertise of the doctors and the paramedics, the intervention was successful and Mr. Mehrotra was discharged from the hospital the very next day, that is on 13th April 2022. The second case of the day was of Mrs. Saudamini Pallai, a 57-year-old lady from Sector 15, Rourkela. She came to the hospital with severe chest pain and on initial evaluation, she was found to be with extensive myocardial infarction. Hence, she was taken for primary percutaneous transluminal coronary angioplasty, that is the PTCA. In angiogram, it was found that she was having acute thrombotic occlusion of two major vessels. The same team of doctors and paramedics carried out the intervention and placed the stent successfully. Mrs. Pallai is now recovering under the watchful eyes of the doctors and is having stable vitals. She will be discharged from the hospital very soon. The process from admission and shifting to operation was very smooth despite the challenges faced by the medical team. Mr. Atanu Bhaumik, Director in charge RSP, visited the hospital on 13th morning and interacted with the doctors and the patients. He congratulated the doctors and the paramedics on successful commencement of angioplasty interventions in the IPGI and SSH and said that this would be a great help to the patients residing in Rourkela as well as nearby areas. As a part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebration, SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant is presenting a series of news on the eminent personalities of Odisha, and today's personality is Shri Gopal Ghosh. Born on 1st May 1920 in Raghunathpur village of Jagat Singhpur district, Shri Gopal Ghosh was one of the renowned artists in Odia film industry. He started his career as a theatre artist and later he entered All India Radio Cuttack. Thereafter, he began his career in Odia films. His debut film Sri Jagannath was a box office hit. He had also left his mark in field of production and direction of Odia cinemas. Bhai Bhauja and Ghara Sansara are some of his notable works. For his tremendous contribution to the field of Odia cinemas, Shri Ghosh was conferred with President Medal in 1960 for the film Shri Lokanath, Mohana Sundara Dev Goswami Award in 1983, Cinecritic Award in 1991 and Odisha Sangeet Natak Academy in 1998. He passed away on 26 February 2015. And that's all for today. Namaskar.